My friends, we are living in the golden age of gaming, at least for some genres. And if you happen to love games that feature swordplay from a first-person perspective, you're in luck, because we now have galore of them. We have them galore? I mean, we have a lot of such games, and new ones are coming. Last year I made 2 videos about medieval and fantasy games with this type of combat and camera, where I listed all such games I could find at the moment. There were like less than 2 dozens of them. And of course I missed something important, like the one of the best ones, Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon, which really deserves a video of its own, and I swear it is coming. I can't understand how did it fly under my radar. I should get myself a new radar or something. Hi, I'm Not-a-witchr, although I once was mistaken for one. On this channel I make different kinds of videos, but mostly about dwarves and first-person melee combat games. This one is of the latter kind. And I am excited for the future of the genre. Or not a genre, how do you call this very specific combination of visuals, gameplay and setting type? Just last year, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Avowed and Oblivion Remastered came out. Also, Mortal Sin and Darkblade Ascent launched after early access. So we got as many first-person swordplay games in 1 year as in previous 10 years. And about a quarter of all such games. What a year! And 2026 continues this revival of the genre, so I need to tell you about several upcoming RPGs/slashers, some of which we can try right now. Fatekeeper, currently in the early access, is exactly the kind of game I wish there were more of. An immersive dark fantasy adventure with heavy focus on melee combat from the eyes of your protagonist. The first thing we see is how gorgeous the game looks. Like the visuals I imagined that my game would look like if I were to develop a video game, and had infinite time, and was competent. It's not just the graphics, but the art style and dedication to detail, simply superb. I mean, this stone looks so good, it makes me think that if I lick it, I would feel the taste of dust on my teeth. And if that's oddly specific for you, just wait until I talk about the waste pit. I understand that you might be less interested in how the stuff in the game looks or tastes, and more interested in what the gameplay feels like. Don't worry, the best part of the game, the combat, already is very good not just to look at, but also to have fun with. You might see this and think, it looks nice, but does the combat have a challenge here? Yes, your strikes are slow at the beginning, and you have to learn choosing the right tactics and the moment to attack, to block, to dodge, and also time it well, because you can't do several things at the same moment. If you drink a healing potion, you can't dodge or block until you finish drinking. If you make a heavy attack, you can't stop mid-swing, and even blocking begins not right at the moment when you press the button. So, the combat needs some practice to be ready to go against even a couple of enemies. But when you get it right, it feels so satisfying and rewarding. Perfect dodges, slow-mo finishers, couple it all with physics-based kicking and anatomy-based dismembering, and we get a very immersive and personal feeling of combat. And you don't have to rely on your weapons only. From the start you have several spells to augment your fighting tactics. Freezing your enemies to slow them down, lighting them on fire, pushing them to their downfall, or yanking them with telekinesis, or even using their weapons against their comrades. The magic here does not make the game a shooter, at least not right away, but makes you think how to use the environment to your advantage. Of course, you can just kick things, but doing stuff with your spells make you feel more of a fantasy hero. Speaking of fantasy, unfortunately the early access right now gives us very little in matters of story and lore. A piece here and there, a colorful footnote during the loading screen. I don't even fully understand who our protagonist is or what he is fighting for, but I really like the red companion. He seems much more wise than the protagonist.
You're not thinking of jumping.
No.
Good.
Oh, the alchemy system. Simple, but absolutely necessary, because everything that you can drink or lubricate your weapon with, all is made by yourself from ingredients you find along the way. There are no healing potions that somebody just put in a chest and forgot about. And the cauldrons that you use to brew stuff are even fewer than the save points. So you have to manage your resources and think what you will take to the next fight. This is no Skyrim. And to be honest, I wouldn't want Fatekeeper trying to be the new Skyrim. I would want it to be the best version of the experience of an old-school inspired fantasy adventure with RPG elements. But we'll have to wait for around a year for that to happen at full launch. And before that, we can try something else.
Get up, soldier. Scrub the bloody muck from your eyes.
Bonjour, bonjour, brave soldat. Tu as des horreurs à endurer. Now, when I have two languages to be ashamed of my pronunciation, let's talk about Valor Mortis, another game I'm really excited to play this year. It has a cool demo available right now, and the launch should be in October. This game calls itself a Souls-like, probably due to its progression mechanics that would be familiar to the fans of From Software games, but I don't like such stereotypical words describing only a certain aspect of a game and potentially misleading people that might otherwise like the game very much. Valor Mortis is a first-person combat game in a unique setting of dark fantasy France, somewhere around Napoleonic Wars. So much of the dark and gritty atmosphere of the game might be not as much due to the horror fantasy parts, but due to the time period being really rough and grim from all the wars and stuff. I mean, the day-to-day life of a 19th century French commoner scare me much more than these organically challenged monsters. And speaking of Napoleon, he is very much present from the beginning of the game as the voice in the head of our protagonist. Not like an imaginary friend from Jojo Rabbit, and not like a useful psychosis element from Hellblade, but more like a conscience voice telling you to stop playing and go do something useful. But in this case, the voice is Vincent Cassel, and he is your emperor, so you actually have to do it.
For the love of the Empire, get up!
But aside from the excellent atmosphere and interesting visuals, the game has one of the best melee combat systems for a first-person camera. Nothing unexpected, you start with one melee weapon, a saber, and then find or develop other ways to attack your enemies, like a pistol, and a fire hand spell, and later a rapier, a musket, and a protective shield power. But that's only what we see in the demo, and I hope that in the full game we'll have more weapons and spells. But even with those weapons from the demo, the most important is the feel of the combat here. Swift and deadly strikes, both yours and your opponent's, feel well balanced and impactful. Not too effective, you can't kill most enemies with one hit, like for example in Ghost Runner games, which by the way were made by the same studio. And from the other hand, not too weak, like in the Elder Scrolls games, when you have to hit an enemy several times just to notice their health bar moving at all. Valor Mortis is not an RPG. Here your skill as a player decides everything, and not your stats or your build effectiveness. And even with the progression system giving you some options to choose, it is made to accentuate your preferred playstyle. But you will still have to manage your resources and tailor your tactics for different situations and enemy kinds. I especially liked the second boss fight from the demo. It felt like a duel of two equally dangerous and weird opponents, and it was not too long to get tired, like in some other games. I mean, I had died many times, but not too many to lose the excitement of almost getting him. And also, the save point is just before the fight, so that's convenient. Timed parries and perfect dodges are present in many games, but here they are especially juicy. And also some enemies, very juicy. I highly recommend trying the demo, and let's see how the full game will feel like. Queen's Domain surprised me in a good way. I tried it without any expectations because I'm not exactly a fan of retro style in graphics itself, but I do understand the appeal of nostalgic simplicity of gameplay that makes almost a meditative experience. This game successfully captures the atmosphere of early RPGs, but gives a player much better controls, visibility range, and overall smoother feeling. What is this island that you are stranded on? Why is it full of all kinds of hybrid bug puns, like ratty bug or chicket? Why do the flowers shoot laser beams at me? The demo of the game does not answer these questions, but the intrigue is high. What I found really fun is the melee combat, which in this kind of game surely can't be very complex, but figuring out the distance to the enemies, their attack direction and range, the damage types, also the use of your stamina. It is not as simple as you might think. 3 different melee weapons available in the demo feel each as its own thing, and your skill levels up as you kill more bugs with the specific weapon. Figuring stuff out by your own, this is the core of enjoyment that you can get playing Queen's Domain. And the trailer of the full game promises more mechanics, weapons and magic. Looks fun, so you might want to wishlist the game on Steam. Alcahest is promised to be an RPG with physics-driven creative combat. It does look like it's inspired by the Dark Messiah of Might and Magic a lot, including breakable support beams and impaling enemies on spikes that they so recklessly leave just standing by the walls. Exploring ruins, killing goblins. What else do you need for a good time? Alcahest is definitely on my wishlist. Decrepit. This game leans heavily into the horror realm with a hint of forniphilia, because some of the enemies seem to be made into furniture. It promises stamina-based Souls-like combat and equipment-based class system. Your goal is to break out of decaying medieval prison, and the planned release date is 2026. I covered the original Elderborn in one of my videos. I liked the game and I didn't expect a sequel, but to my surprise, here it is. Elderborn Vengeance, announced with no release date so far and very scarce information. Let's just hope that it will be an evolution of the original game, which was a nice barbarian-themed slasher with good melee combat. So, what games of this type are you waiting for with anticipation? What did I forgot to mention? Thank you for watching this. Consider subscribing to my channel. I am still not a witcher, and as always, take care and farewell.